Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to make a recipe. We're going to make beef jerky. This is my favorite recipe because it gives me abs like this. So we're going to first start by talking about the cut of beef you want to use. What I have here is London broil. Now why do I choose London broil? Is because it's a leaner cut of meat. For beef jerky, you can use any cut of meat that you like. You can use tri-tip, you can use London broil, you can use sirloin, you can use tenderloin, whatever your desire is. But I find London broil, with the amount of fat that it has, it works out really well with beef jerkies. The more fat is in the jerky, the easier it'll go rancid because of the fat content of it. So using something lean is the way to go. So here we have the London broil, and as you can see, there is some fat in here. I'm going to be cutting all of this fat out, okay? And these parts that I cut out, actually, I clean them up and I use them to make jerkies for my dogs. And I'll share the recipe that I use for my dogs, which is different, of course, than the ones we're going to make for us. I'm going to share that recipe, what I do with it and how I do it, okay? So here we have the beef. On the side here, we have the ingredients. Very basic ingredients. I will go over that. When you make beef jerkies, you will either need a dehydrator or you can use your conventional oven, but you have to monitor it very closely. And I'll go over that towards the end of the video, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by cleaning out this meat and taking all these parts out. And I'm not going to video that because I don't want to waste your time. You probably know how to do that. So I'll meet back with you in a few minutes when I've cleaned this up, and we'll go over how I slice this and small little tricks here. Okay, so we're back, and you can see I've kind of trimmed this into a little block. I've taken a lot of the fat out, and here's the part that's going to go for my puppies. I've taken the fat out. Of course, you don't want to give too much fat to your dogs, or any fat to your dogs. So this we're going to put away, and we're going to put the marinade on it later. We're going to focus on ours. Two tricks that are very important in making jerky. One is you got to get your slices the same thickness. Otherwise, when you're dehydrating, parts of it will dry up too much, and the other parts that are thicker will not. So what you need in order, what you will need in order to do that correctly, one is a very sharp knife. Second, one of the tricks is to have your meat semi-frozen. Okay, so you can't see this in the video, but this particular piece right here, it's semi-frozen. Okay, it's soft enough where I can cut through it, but it's not totally defrosted. And what that does is it allows me to get a very nice thin slice. So I'm going to slice a few pieces. You see how I do that, and then we'll go from there. So what I like to do is get my pieces about 1/4 of an inch or less. You don't want to go more than that, okay? So there you go. This is a perfect piece. And you can see there's a little bit of fat, which will give it flavor, but it's not too much where, it'll be too fatty or tough. All right, so I'm going to do a few more pieces, right, like that. Another thing to note is that I'm going against the grain of the beef. So you can see the grain of the beef is kind of going that way. Going against the grain, what it'll do is when you go bite into your jerky, it'll tear much easier than if you have the grains going the long way, okay? I'm going to do another one. I keep my knife on an angle like this. You don't go straight, you go on an angle. That way you get a little bit wider pieces and you have more control. My mouth is already watering. I haven't even finished making this yet. So just like that, all right? I'm going to continue slicing the rest of this the same way. I did the same thing for my puppies, all right? And again, the trick is to stay consistent with the thickness of it. I'm going to finish slicing this, and I'll come back and I'll show you what goes in the marinade and curing part of it. Okay, so here we're back, and we have our beef all cut up. into nice little even pieces, okay? So now we're gonna go to the ingredients. So what I use is soy sauce. I have about a pound and a 3/4 of beef. So 1.5 to 1.75 pounds of beef here. So for that, I'm gonna use 1/2 cup of soy sauce. I'm gonna use 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. We're gonna use about maybe a teaspoon of the W sauce. I have some garlic. The garlic you don't have to use if you don't like it. I love chili pepper flakes to give it some spice, okay, if you like it spicy. So the garlic and the chili you can use basically to your taste. Now, if you want to add another ingredient such as onion powder, you like it onion flavored, you know, you can do that. It's you can put whatever flavoring you like in there. What is going to preserve the beef is dehydrating it, because what you do is you're taking the water out of it. And if there is no water, bacteria don't grow as easily. You know, they'll eventually grow, but not as easily. And that's what preserves beef or fish or whatever you dry. Of course, the salt in the soy sauce helps with that. It draws out the water. Also, the salt itself is preservative, and sugar is. So you can just use soy sauce and sugar, and that's it, and dehydrate it, and that will work. But I like, and I highly recommend chili flakes and a little bit of garlic. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our sugar, we're gonna put it in our soy sauce. We're gonna make sure it's nice and dissolved. And we're gonna just add our garlic and chili flakes, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna mix this, make sure everything is nicely dissolved. Then I'm going to transfer the meat into a Ziploc bag, and we are gonna store it in the refrigerator overnight. Now, I've done it different ways where I store it just overnight, few hours, or over a few days. What I find to be just the perfect balance is overnight, okay? If you do it for a few hours, you don't get good infusion of the marinade. If you do it too many days, you get too much of it. And so I find that 24 hours works perfect. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put all of this in the Ziploc bag, and I'll be back and I'll show you what it looks like, and then we're gonna go over the ingredients that I put on the jerky for my puppies. Okay, so I have my marinade in a Ziploc bag, and what I'm trying to do is make sure that every piece gets coated pretty well, okay? And your pieces are not stuck together where some parts will get coated and others don't. That's kind of important. Okay, so we're gonna do that. I'm gonna do that a little bit more, but I wanna show you. And this already, oh my gosh, smells awesome, okay? So we're gonna do that. We're gonna mix this up a little bit more, make sure everything's coated, and then we're gonna put it in our refrigerator. In my refrigerator, I have a drawer that keeps any type of meat at 32 degrees. And that's really good. If you don't, just keep it under 42 degrees and you should be fine. So that's that. It's gonna sit overnight. Now we're gonna go to the puppies. Now, the ingredients that I put for my dogs, of course you can put nothing, but I like to put a little bit of turmeric, which is anti-inflammatory, and it's also antibacterial somewhat. Now, you don't wanna put too much, okay? Just a little bit. I have ground ginger. Now, ground ginger in small amounts, it's anti-inflammatory for dogs, especially let's say your dog has arthritis or something, you're doing something nice. This last ingredient is kind of controversial. It's a garlic. I've read articles that garlic is not good for dogs, and but you know what? I've given my dogs, I've had dogs for 28 years, and I've given them a little bit of garlic with anything I make for them. and I haven't had any problems, but then I don't overdo it either. So a little bit of garlic, ginger, and turmeric. It gives it color, taste, and they love it, and it's good for them. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna introduce these dry ingredients. We're gonna make sure that everything is coated evenly. And again, we're gonna put it in a Ziploc bag. It's gonna go in the refrigerator next to ours. And tomorrow we'll be back and I'll show you my dehydrator. And I'll actually do a review on my dehydrator because I've had it for a while and I've used it in another video. But tomorrow we're gonna do that dehydrated, and we're gonna see what the end result is. All right, so have a good night. See you tomorrow. Hello everyone, welcome back. It's the next day. So our beef jerky meat has been marinating overnight. I took it out of the Ziploc bag and put it in the bowl just for ease of videoing. You don't need to do that. You can save yourself having to wash a couple of dishes. Of course, this one is for our human consumption. This one is for dogs. Okay. One thing I want to point out, if you look on my counter here, I've laid out saran wrap. I do that almost anytime I prepare chicken, beef, fish, anything like that. And the reason is a lot of people think either granite or marble countertops, because they're so shiny, they are impermeable. That means they don't absorb things. Actually, that's wrong. They are very porous. And if you have, let's say, chicken juice or meat juice or any type of liquid on it, and it stays on there, it will absorb into your countertop. Marble and granite are just rocks that have been polished to a shine, okay? Now, some put a sealer on it. Well, honestly, I wouldn't want my food to be sitting on a chemical. So that's why I lay out this saran wrap, all right? And it makes cleaning up much easier, and it makes it much more hygienic. All right, so we're ready to go ahead. We're going to put the dogs aside. We're going to go ahead and start putting our beef jerky on our racks. Like I said, I'm going to be using a dehydrator. I'll be doing another video reviewing the dehydrator that I have. So mine comes with plastic racks like that. Now, it's very simple. What you want to do is take your pieces. Okay, I don't blot them dry. I just leave all the liquid on there. It gives it more flavor. But the main thing you want to do is two things. One, you want to put them apart from each other so you have good air circulation. My dehydrator has, I think, 10 racks, so I'm not worried about cramming them. The other is you want to make sure that your meat is not folded up, okay? You want to make sure that it's nicely spread out, all right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this with our jerky. I'm going to do the same with our dog's jerky that we're making for them. And we'll be back and we'll show you the next step. Okay, so here's my dehydrator. I'll remove the cover. I already got it running. I put the dog's jerky up on top because I don't want any of the juices from ours dripping on theirs. And then ours goes in. Give a little room between them to breathe. All right. Now we're going to put the cover back on. And this is going to take, just from experience, about 6 hours for it to dry up properly. But I'll be checking on it after 5 hours to see how it's doing. Alrighty, so we'll be back in about 5-6 hours to check on it. Okay, so it's been about 5 hours, and we're gonna check our beef jerky here. I'm gonna turn this off for now. It takes a bit for the fan to go off. Here's the jerky that we made for the dogs. Because these were smaller, thinner pieces, these are ready. The way I know they're ready is, they're not very, very hard, but they're not soft either. You'll just learn by experience what the true consistency should be. Here's the jerky for us. Our pieces were a little bit bigger and thicker. You can see it's a little bit malleable. It bends a little bit, and it's just about done. Now, depends on how you like your jerky. You want them really tough or you want them a little soft. I think I would like to let this go a little bit longer for us, for maybe about another half an hour or so, and we'll take them out of here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the dogs ones out and I let them cool down before I transfer them into a Ziploc bag. And of course, we're going to, see if our dogs like it or not. So meet you out there. Okay, folks. So it's been about 6 hours, as I predicted. Been doing this long enough where, and you will get to that point too. Here we go. Here's our beef jerky. You can see that the consistency is just perfect. I've already tasted a piece of it. It's absolutely delicious. One thing I forgot to mention earlier is that I said you can use your conventional oven to do this. You can, but it's a little bit more tricky to do that. And the reason is because you have to kind of like monitor the temperature and you need an airflow, okay? I'll be doing a video reviewing my dehydrator that I have here. But what dehydrator basically is a heating element and a fan. And the trick is to circulate the air and you dehydrate your jerkies slowly. So you can use an oven. I would look up on the internet as to how to work the oven. You got to keep it at a temperature of about 100 degrees, but you need air circulation there and you got to crack open the door of your oven. I've tried that before, and even though I did my best to monitor it, I really couldn't get the results that I wanted. So a dehydrator is a must. You can use a dehydrator for, dehydrating fruits, vegetables, greens. All it is a fan and a heating element, okay? And some racks. So I'll do a review of my dehydrator in one of the upcoming videos, and you can make the right decision as like what you like to choose. So I'm going to take this over to my kitchen. I've already let it cool down a bit, and I'm going to put it in Ziploc bags. I like to keep them in the refrigerator. It keeps better that way, and enjoy them. I tell you, I take this jerky to my work, and it's a great snack to have during the day. You're working, you just put a piece in your mouth and you just chew on it, and the flavors, the protein, everything is absolutely delicious. I have to hide it from my coworkers because everybody wants to have a piece of it. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe. I got a lot more fun videos coming up. Cook for your family, cook for yourself, live in the moment. Be kind to animals. They depend on us. Love and peace to this earth, and I will see you in my next video. Bye-bye. Okay, so here are the puppies. They're ready for their jerky. Oh my goodness. They almost took her hand off. Now, I wonder, honey, did you like that? I think they did.